What's going on, guys? It's Travesty here. So today we have UCDL week 2. Unfortunately, we are on Showdown because Mario's Switch stopped working. So that's really fun. So ignore the background music. I just put on Glitch X City. I mean, don't ignore it. She's obviously awesome. Teambuilder will be at the end of this, but the quick recap is got a loaded dice scale shot, gouging fire with speed booster in the sun, double dance, resto, chesto, terrapagos, AV, Basculegion, a Specs, Enamorous, and then quick feat, setup Jolteon, and a Trick Room Stealth Rock. 2 attacks, including Mystical Power, Mesprit, so lots of setup spam, kind of hyper offensive. Let's see, they didn't bring Raging Bolt, so that's great. I didn't really have a good switch into that. They brought Great Tusk, Bundle, Ninetales, Wake, Scream Tail, and Chestnut. I thought the Chestnut might come for Excadrill, but given it did come, I mean, it's also the only Shadow Ball switch in. I am going to lead with my Basculegion here. Yeah, and they lead Bundle. I expect this thing might just be Specs. Because Specs Freeze Dry, I just don't have a switch in for. So I am going to just click Shadow Ball, I think turn 1. Because if they go into Chestnut, I have things to handle that. I don't want to Ice Beam on this and not get my chip. Scout out how they play. So let's see if we can get any information from this. I'm not really in a great headspace for this battle, to be honest. It's before work. It's really early in the morning. I'm a bit all over the shop. Yeah, that's Specs as hell. That is Specs Freeze Dry. Specs is literally the only way it does that much. Cool. Good to know. We got a lot of chip on this. If there's anything, take 2. A few things take 1. So that's good to know. Gouging takes 1. Terrapagos takes 1. Jolteon will take 1. And Mesprit should take 1. Mesprit might actually take 2. Either way, I'm just going to click Shadow Ball again. Let's see, I did 53.7. Can we tell if you're modest from that? No, still could just be timid. I might just go straight into my Jolteon here and click Calm Mind. Because if they want to preserve this, we can get a lot of damage off on some stuff. We should be, yeah, Quick Feet Flame Orb, perfect. Basculegion not quite putting in the work that I thought it would, but even if I ran max for def, I didn't live 2 freeze dries, so. And I don't think Aqua Jet would have killed, yeah. So, you should preserve this, but if I can get Chestnut or Great Tusk in, then I can get my rocks up and this thing is dead. KO's Bask. Specs 252. Timid. We get the Calm Mind up against this thing, and we get the Flame Orb as well. So I'm tempted to just throw off a T-Bolt here and start trying to break. So we're probably going to take an Encore. Yeah. So now you should go Tusk. You should Baton Pass, actually, maybe into Tusk. Or you don't necessarily want Sun to go down. So I'm going to double into Enamorous, or switch into Enamorous. Yeah, they go for BPs. They would have let me take the Sun. So that's interesting. VP, Encore. If I get rocks up, then this thing's basically dead. Bundle's dead. So you go bundle here for sure. Well, I could be Scarf, I guess. But if I'm you, I go bundle. You could go Wake. Yeah, there's the Wake. Special attack booster. That's interesting. So you're probably Scarfed then. And my only potential switch into this has died. This Hydro Steam's doing a lot to everything. Yeah. So what do I let go down? Jolteon's good for the speed control here. Terapagos can still just kind of win, particularly if I get rocks up, because you know that that thing is not scarfed, and even if this thing is scarfed, we'll outspeed it. I can actually potentially revenge this with gouging afterwards. So I need Mesprit. I think this is my most expendable mon, so I'm just going to click Moonblast. Oh, we do live. That crit did not matter. Slay Enamorous. So that looks like it was maybe even Modest. Scarf. Actually. Anyway, going to this thing. I'm just going to click Moonblast again. They could get rocks up. If I get my chip, I get my chip. Or they could just KO me. Yeah, they get rocks up. I should do about half. Yeah. They just go for Ice Beam. That's fine. I think I go into... I could go Jolteon and just Shadow Ball, or I might just go into my Mesprit. I should be able to take 2 from this. I'm actually going to Trick Room first, just so they can't lock me in with Encore into anything. They can't mind. As I Trick Room. I'm going to get my rocks up here. So we've seen rocks, CM, Ice Beam, and it looks like, let's check that Enamorous damage real quick, 52%. So Photosynthesis is gone. 52% from Enam. Yeah, it puts you right in about the range that we expect you to be. So the question is, do I Shadow Ball or Mystical Power? Shadow Ball's only doing 25%. I think I'm going to Mystical Power. As they can't mind up. Alright. Crits. Not ideal. But I'm just going to Shadow Ball. And get my chip. Okay, you're at 32%. So Jolteon does not kill. Terrapagos shouldn't die. Not Stellar Terrastal. And neither should Gouging. Problem is without Sun Up, I don't break the Tusk. I need to slow down and think about how I win this now. I think it's Jolteon. They'll be healing more than me, unfortunately. Because I do KO with the Gouging, but I can't really set up in front of it because they just have a Tusk in the back. So 2 Shadow Balls unfortunately won't kill, so I'm going to Calm Mind here. There's the Psy Noise. Cool. Now another one won't kill and 2 Shadow Balls should, so I'm just going to go for that. They Psy Noise, bring us down low, but they don't have any priority. And you look like you're in range of a Thunderbolt, but it's a roll. I mean, this thing is basically dead. I'm just going to click Shadow Ball. Yeah, you go into Chestnut, that's fine. I can just Alluring Voice here. Like, Screamtail is now at, what, 9%? Bundle is dead. Ninetales is really low, so it's only if Tusk can come in and spin for free. That does a lot. They just Body Press. Cool. So I don't think I can go to Wrap. I think Body Press does too much. Actually, can I go to Wrap? If you're max defense, it keeps going to the Stellar form, then it'll do 84% with Body Press. So we should be able to get up a Rock Polish. And then I think I can click Rest. Or do I go... I think I go Gouging here. And I think I just DD up. Yeah, they go hard into Tusk. Damn it, that's actually really bad. I didn't think about that. Fuck! I think I threw. I think I needed to go Terrapagos first. I mean, Scale Shot will do a lot to this if it's offensive. And we just die. We just die. We just lose. We just lose. That was a misplay. I wasn't thinking about it. I needed to take that opportunity to set up my Rock Polish, go for Rest, get back to good HP, and then chunk this down, and then Gouging might have been able to win. I don't see a way around this now, because even if I switch into Terrapagos... Stop going to fucking Stellar form, I swear to God, stupid calc. Yeah, we just die. I really needed them to put the sun up again. Go for the overheat. Yeah, that looks like it's specially defense invested. They go for Headlong. So, if they have CC, I think I just die. Starstorm will kill. See, that only did 42%. Which means you have to have a lot of Spadef or be Assault Vest. You're probably just Assault Vest, to be honest. Yeah. I think you're just AV, and you probably outspeed. So my only play is if you don't have CC for some reason, and you let me get up a Rock Polish. Oh my god. Did they just throw? They might have just thrown, because we definitely kill everything. They go into Ninetales. If you're AV Tusk, you take 52% min. What are you at? You're at 56. I think I just click Starstorm. I don't risk setting up on this thing. We should outspeed Speed Booster Screamtail. Proto attack. I'm gonna show off the tech. Because then it's not a roll. Now I just click Starstorm. Yeah, you sack the bundle. I was really tempted to click Calm Mind there, but I couldn't risk them just staying in. They go into Tusk. Get the attack boost. Could be Chillon. Fuck yes, Terapagos! Fuck yes! Ah! They threw! They threw! I knew this thing was such a problem for their team. We should outspeed this, right? Yeah, we should definitely outspeed this. Terapagos just annihilated. I stopped keeping track of KOs there, but that was nuts. What a sweep from Terapagos to claim that. We were in such a bad spot. I think I misplayed around, like I said, with that gouging. I think I should have gone Terap first, use the opportunity to get up the HP, the speed that I needed, then gone gouging. And then I think I might have won that way, because gouging should have outsped the Tusk. I didn't need to DD. Although I think it was AV Tusk, so I think without the Sun, we never KO'd with the overheat anyway. But, I mean, I still needed every little bit of chip there, and the Resto Chesto Terap was insane. Okay, well, after this, you'll see the team builder. Thank you to Mario for the battle. That was such a close game. And yeah, fucking putting in the work. I mean, it was always going to be a really offensive game, which I think leaned more into their team than into mine. I definitely didn't play that one ideally. As you can probably tell, I'm much more just like click buttons on Showdown. I don't play as well on Showdown, and it's early in my morning. So, but anyway, we managed to pull it out. I knew Terapagos was a monster, and it just absolutely destroyed that game. Mesprit also getting some KOs from the grave there, so yeah, really happy with that one. You'll see the team builder after this, and we'll go with the team builder against Mario. You can see the team they had to pick from below me. It is obviously a Sun team, a couple of really threatening ones. We basically don't have a switch into Iron Bundle at all, and then obviously things in the Sun can be quite hard. I don't see Entei making an appearance, to be honest. Oh, sorry, my assistant coach Bella's decided to crawl off my lap, so she's gonna be around. Maybe she's just gonna sit here for a bit, who knows. But if you see a dog jumping around, that's what that is. Walking Wake we also don't have great switch-ins for, like our Dragon Resist just don't take a Hydro Steam very well, and vice versa. and then Screamtail's a little bit hard to break down. I don't think the Chestnut, the Talonflame, or the Entei will come, or the Swadloon, Grimer, or Bellsprout. To be honest, I think it's going to be Paradox, Spam, plus Sun. The Entei doesn't really want to be banded and locked into anything that allows like gouging to set up, and the best move it has to hit Basculegion is Crunch, which it doesn't really want to go for on a prediction necessarily. And E-Speed is nice, but it's not going to do enough to something like the gouging anyway. The Chestnut could come to try and check my Excadrill, but I can just run Aerial Ace and two-shot that, and Great Tusk is a much better check to the Excadrill than Chestnut is. Talonflame likewise could come to check the Enamorous, because they don't have great switch-ins to Enamorous, but if it does, we still potentially two-shot it, and it might not OHKO us back unless it's attack invested and in the sun. So it's one of those weird things of like, I don't think they'll bring the defensive checks. I think they'll just go more offensive, but we'll see. Well, you would have seen what they decided to bring if you've seen the battle already. But yeah, so the first one I put on this team was Gouging Fire. It looked really good into this matchup. We've got enough speed to get the speed booster proc and outspeed Great Tusk, and then we've got a little bit more just to get to the 302 attack, because that allows a better roll with Scale Shot into Walking Wake. I think it is. I think it goes from like a 92% chance to a 95% chance to OHKO or something like that. So went for getting the speed boost in the sun, so that if there's something that's not speed boosting, then we'll outspeed it, and if there's something that is speed boosting and we've got a Scale Shot up, then we'll outspeed them as well. So that's kind of the vibe there. Scale Shot loaded dice is specifically in case they decide to bring like Habanberry on Raging Bolt or Walking Wake, or if they're just super bulky. It also means we can get the speed up without needing to DD, which we might need into hitting other things. And you'll also see we've got some special attack investment and overheat here. So the idea is a Scale Shot into an overheat in the sun into a Great Tusk is like a pretty good chance. I think it does like 93% min to max HP Tusk. If they're running like AV and no HP investment, it's similar. So like it's a good chance to kill the Tusk, which I think is going to be their main answer to this thing. And so after we've done our speed and attack EVs, you just put the rest in special attack to try and make that hit as hard as possible. Then the other notable thing about this team is they have zero normal resist or immunity, and so we're bringing Terapagos. I'm going a double dance Resto Chesto set rather than boots here. If they do bring rocks, it'll basically just be on the Screamtail. They could bring spikes for the Chestnut, but I don't think Chestnut has a great time against this team. Like, it doesn't get a lot of free moves, if that makes sense. It can switch in on some things, but a lot of things really threaten it. So because we only need Terra Starstorm as an attacking move, I've got both Rock Polish and Calm Mind, depending on what I need more to beat the rest of their team. Like, if the Screamtail, we might want to Calm Mind to get the power up. If everything's weakened, I might just want to Rock Polish to get the speed up. Got enough speed to creep a Scarfed or Booster Speed Iron Bundle, I believe. And then enough special attack with a modest investment to get all the Tuat KOs and OHKOs we need. And then the rest just in HP for a little bit more bulk. And the idea with the Resto Chesto is potentially we can get a little bit more chip or something, or rest up on something if they've chipped us down, to then get our Terra Shell back and continue to sweep that way. Then we have our Cope check to bundle and Walking Wake. This is AV Basculegion. Even if I run max Spadef, I get Tuat KO'd by Specs Freeze Dry. Or there's a roll to Tuat KO'd by Specs Freeze Dry, which is really annoying. So I've gone with a bit of a mixed spread. We should take 3 from a non-Specs Iron Bundle, but if it is Specs, it will 2-shot. We also take a Crunch from an Adamant Banded Entei, and can OHKO that thing with Hydro Pump if Sun's not up. Shadow Ball is incredibly free into their team. Their only switch in is the Chestnut, so I'm probably just going to click that a lot. And then Ice Beam should Tuat KO the Chestnut as well. Flip Turn, just in case I decide I want momentum rather than just damage. This will probably be my lead as well, because it has a pretty good matchup into anything. If they do lead the bundle, it means I don't just have to sack them on off rip. I can get some good damage into it. And everything else other than the Raging Bolt, we're pretty happy to be against. And even the Raging Bolt, to be honest, we might be able to 2-shot and they won't OHKO us unless they're like... Actually, even if they're Specs, I think they don't OHKO, but they do a lot. If the sun is up in their Specs, then they OHKO. Then we have the Enamorous. I was considering an agility set, but Frito raised a good point that, like, when am I going to get an agility off against this team? There's lots of things that can encore, there's lots of things that can just threaten damage. So instead we've gone for just Specs, because Specs Moonblast just hits everything super hard. Ninetales and Entei are kind of the only good... Ninetales, Entei, and Talonflame, right, are the switch-ins. Ninetales gets 3-hit KO'd. Entei is a roll to 2-hit KO. If rocks are up and they're not boots, those are both guaranteed. And then the Talonflame is also, like, if it's offensive, I think it gets 2-hit KO by Moonblast. It definitely gets 2-hit KO by Sludge Bomb, unless it's Spadef, which it might be, but then I think they just lose a lot of momentum because Talonflame is set up fodder for a couple of other ones I'm bringing, including the gouging, and then a couple other things later. So it's gone for Specs to click Specs Moonblast. This investment, I think, guarantees the 2-hit KO on the Screamtail. We're speed creeping anything that's creeping the gouging fire, and then we've got enough Spadef and HP. I believe that's to take a Hydro Steam from a Specs Walking Wake, if it's, you know, the standard Specs speed booster kind of set. So we should be able to live that one and just Oko back with a Moonblast, just in case that comes up. Also kind of helps with, like, taking a... I think it was the Walking Wake. It might have been the Raging Bolt, but I doubt we lived anything from that. I think Wake was the only thing where there was, like, a chance we could EV to live, so I did. Then we have Georges the Jolteon. We're bringing Quick Feet Jolteon this week because I could go Volt Absorb for the Raging Bolt, but I think just the threat of Volt Absorb will make them think twice about clicking electric moves. And we've gone Carmine with Quick Feet so that we outspeed everything except for a Scarf or Booster Speed bundle, which means if it's either Scarf or Booster Speed, we should be able to handle it with the Basket Legion. This will mean we outspeed Wake in the Sun as well. We've scrapped that there. I think we're actually a slightly different... Yeah, we've got 20 EVs left over. I think we're actually that much speed. That makes more sense to me. Maybe I forgot to change that before the battle, but either way, I don't think it would have mattered, because I don't think they were... Yeah, it never came up. Anyway. They weren't speed booster Wake anyway. So Alluring Voice hits all their electric resists really hard, like Great Tusk, Raging Bolts, Walking Wake, Chestnut, all get blown back by Alluring Voice. We've got Shadow Ball just to do a little bit more into the Screamtail, and then Carmine means that we can start tanking hits as well on the special side and outspeed things, and then T-Bolt should two-shot like the Ninetales and the Entei and everything else that's just neutral, and obviously we absolutely blow back an Iron Bundle. So this thing actually looks quite threatening into their team, and if we get the Quick Feet up, then we should have good speed control into their team. Speaking of speed control, last one I've got is a Culberberry Trick Room Mesprit. I was looking at Nasty Plot, but actually rocks are really good into Mario, and based on his week 1, he didn't bring boots on anything. I think he prefers to lean more offensively, so if I can get rocks up, the Tusk will probably feel threatened enough to not spin on against most of this team. Like, the only thing that doesn't Oko it basically, or like two-shot it, is gouging fire on this team, and we have the overheat to surprise two-shot it basically, so it's never going to get a free turn to try and click spin, so I figured rocks is pretty good to get up. We've got a little bit of defense investment so that we take, I think it was 3 knockoffs from a bulky Tusk. Obviously if it's like attack booster or something, then we don't take it, but it was, you know, not that many EVs, so I figured I'd do that. Trick Room is nice because their team is really fast and offensive, and at min speed we will be slower than the Chestnut as well, and then we can kind of ramp ourselves up with Mystical Power without having to click Nasty Plot on a particular turn, and then just go for Shadow Ball. Between this thing and Enamorous as well, we really force the Tusk into predicting, because obviously if it clicks Knockoff into Enamorous, then it doesn't do a ton of damage. If it clicks either of its stabs into either of those mons, and I think it does have to bring both stabs for my top 2, then they just tank that hit, and so it probably has to run Heavy Slam as well, or Rock Move for Enamorous, and then it doesn't have spin, so it's kind of pinned by my just type matchups here, and so I don't know exactly what form moves it's going to run, but it means it struggles a little bit more, and then both of these threaten it offensively as well. The Culberry just means if they do go for knockoff and we use that turn to get up a Trick Room or Mystical Power, then we can basically get rid of the Tusk for not a lot on this Mesprit. So that's going to be the team. If you've seen the battle already, then you know the result, but if you haven't, I'm going to spoil it in 3, 2, 1. So we did come away with a 1-0 victory. They definitely had us I'd say on the back foot, but Terrapagos was always the win con. I think I just misplayed my sequencing at the end there. If I had made an aggressive prediction with the gouging, for example, I basically just needed sun up for gouging to do what I wanted it to do. And so when I went into Mesprit on the Screamtail, I think I should have gone gouging, because at that point we knew it probably wasn't going to have Encore, because we'd seen Ice Beam, we'd seen seen Rocks. I guess it didn't reveal Calm Mind until we went into the Mesprit, but yeah, basically, I think I misplayed around that Screamtail a little bit and let it get too much up against me, but they preserved a lot of things at low HP, and I was able to take advantage of that with the Rock Polish Terrapagos, which they didn't just attack at the end. Basically, if they just click Close Combat with Great Tusk, I think we lost that game 5-0, instead of which we win 1-0, so we take those for sure. I think they were worried about Scarf Terrapagos, to be fair, which I think still could have won, because everything was so weakened. Chestnut and Bundle both died to Rocks. Screamtail would outspeed but do very little damage and would just die to Starstorm. And if we were Scarf with like similar investment, if we were Modest Scarf, then it was still a roll to kill the Tusk, and we got, we could have played around that as well. Like the rest player I went for got Tusk down to very, very little HP. Sorry, got it down to 50%, but it was a 52% min if they were AV. So AV, no bulk invested. So I don't know exactly what spreads they had of whether that mattered or not, but I think if I was Scarf, they lost anyway, and because they let me get a Rock Polish up, I just won off that. So even though it would have been a 5-0, I think it was a lot closer than that shows, just because they did have a lot of things that they preserved very, very low, like going into the Chestnut on the Shadow Ball from Jolteon, preserves the Screamtail, but it preserves the Screamtail at effectively 9% after Rocks, and that's just not taking a hit from anything. So anyway, that's going to be week 2. Next week we are facing Amber, who is the organizer of the league, one of the organizers of lots of leagues I'm in, and a really close friend who has kicked our butts in pretty much every matchup we've had against them, and it's looking like a tough matchup again. So that's going to be a tough one, but we'll see what we can do next Saturday, to try and beat her. So that's going to be all, and I'll see you next week.